while the struggle has continued and in fact intensified back at home, what has happened with us in the diaspora has been that things have gone up and then come down. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me on Esteem Television. My name is Augustine Ambe. We are in 2021, and what I want to say is that this year we want to make it a very different and special year for Esteem Television's growth. And we have a lot of shows that we can bring to you, but we want you to help us do this because, the whole thing about television and content is to give us ideas so that we can go out and act on those ideas, give us information. And Esteem Television really want to do a lot of that this year. And so any help we can get from you is very good. We have set up a Patreon account. And please, if you follow the link on the screen here, you will be able to contribute. It's not very much. It's really token. In fact, you will miss it. It's not even. It's less than your lunch. So please support us and also subscribe. Also subscribe because we're close to 10,000 on this channel. We want to grow this channel to 15,000 by March. Please help us and help us by joining and by also inviting other people to join this channel so we can expand our conversation and grow this channel. So our main topic of conversation on this channel all the time is about what is happening in our lives back home, and what happens in our lives back home influence our lives here, because we are very, very connected to the lives of our families and friends back in Ambazonia. What has happened since 2016 has been that while the struggle has continued and in fact intensified back at home, what has happened with us in the diaspora has been that things have gone up and then come down, and then in between these ups and downs, we have been floating in and not engaged as we should, not as engaged as we were in 2017.
It is hot in New York. It is hot.
After 2017, things happened where the people who rallied us internationally were picked up and thrown in jail, and then they handed over, or the liberation struggle entered into wrong hands. I will never stop saying this until it goes back into the right hands. And so if I'm sounding like I'm lamenting about what is happening in the diaspora, it is because the situation in the diaspora is lamentable, even though what is happening to our people back home is being escalated every day. So let's hope that 2021 is the year that we regroup and recommit ourselves. I know that many people right now are still contributing in the struggle the best way they can, but the best way we can is when we do it together, under one leadership, one strong, honest leadership. We don't have that yet. And I hope that this 2021 is going to provide us some new leadership, some inspired leadership to move us forward, so that we can meet our family members, our compatriots on the ground where they are, and they are not in a good place. So we have a lot to do. Now, that is the bad news. There definitely has been some good news. I think when we think of resolution of the resolution from the Senate, resolution
684, shown here, passed Senate, January 1, 2021. This resolution condemns abuses committed by state security forces and armed groups in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, and it affirms that the United States continues to hold Cameroon responsible for safeguarding the security and constitutional rights of all of its citizens, regardless of their region, religion, or political views. Further, it urges all parties to the conflict in Cameroon, the government of Cameroon, U.S. foreign relations entities, and members of the international community to take specified steps toward resolving the ongoing civil conflict in Cameroon.
That resolution is important, and I want to take the time to thank the compatriots, because there are a lot of compatriots who work tirelessly as a very tiny, tough group to rally a lot of people around the United States to call their senators and contribute towards that resolution. So, even though we're not working like the rock group that we I use rock because in 2017 it was like a summer of excitement. We're excited that our people have finally risen up en masse and rejected the occupation. We're happy that Seseko and Milan and some of the people who put the leadership team from Nigeria were traveling around motivating all of us, and we felt like we were on our way. And being on our way means La République losing us, and they were very nervous, and they had to do impossible things to stop it. They went into Nigeria, arrested the leaders illegally. I mean, they committed so many international crimes to do that. Of course, with the help of the French. And when you're a European and you come in white skin, you think you can do anything. And in most African countries, which really should be giving leadership to Africa, they let things fall apart, and they came in and arrested people in their countries and took them to death, really, because I think those people are only living now because the outcry about their arrest was so loud and so public that the underground where they were going to go bury them was not deep or thick enough to hold them there. So they're now in Kundingi. But that's not where they belong, because they committed no crimes. They committed no crimes in Nigeria to be where they are. They committed no crimes in La République du Cameroun. We should never forget how our revolution started. It started with people peacefully going on the street asking for their government. At that time, they were considering the government of La République du Cameroun, even though it is a puppet government to the French, to work with them so they can have a peaceful life, a life that is worth living, a life that supports life. But what they did was they brought out guns. They brought out guns because everything they do in that place is illegal. And therefore, if you are illegal, and if you rule by the gun, then you can't have a conversation. Because conversations are only led when people share the same value, share the same law. If you don't share the same values, you're not obeying the same laws. If there are laws, if the place is lawless, like Cameroon is, the only language there is the language of violence or patronage. Violence or patronage. I was reading a story written by Concord about some Paul at the presidency who Paul Biya invited him to have a conversation with him. He had that conversation and came back, and his boss, Ferdinand Gongo, went on him. And the guy cried. He cried because, like I said, it's a country where you don't live because you have a right. You don't have a job because you have a right, but because somebody looked at you and said, "I'll give you this job. I am your God." He's playing patron over you. It's a terrible way to live. It's a terrible way to live. But that's the life they live. I think the Francophones are used to it. We are not used to it, and that's not a bad thing. So we need to keep fighting. So we did win the resolution 684. It's a very good resolution. I think we need to keep working through the Congress of the United States and get some results for our people. But while we're doing that, the only reason the U.S. Congress is thinking and passing resolutions about us is because after La République came in, we understood them. We said, okay, well, if you want to bring the gun, then we're going to go get our own gun. But you see, the thing about people who believe in guns and force is that once you pick your own gun too, they have nothing else to say. They have nothing else to say because they're facing a bullet. Be it a very small bullet. Be it a very small bullet. Because the only way they come and rob or steal from you is if everything is stable. And that's why thieves come at night. Or when you're not home. Because even if your child is home, the thief cannot get in. Or he can get in, but that's not how he steals. He will be caught. Somebody will see him. So the same thing. So when they came, we went and picked our own guns. And right now we're fighting them. And because we are fighting them, the world is beginning to listen to us. Our story is being told. Everybody now is talking about, oh, negotiate, or there's violence on both sides, which is really nonsense. Because, no, there's no violence on both sides. It's like the French saying there's genocide on both sides when they go and cause genocide in Rwanda, and the Patriotic Front fights back in order to stop themselves from being killed. So no, there's no violence on both sides. There is violence from one side. There is violence that comes through France to its agents in La République du Cameroun to kill us because they want our resources. Only thieves come in and want your resources like that. Regular people come and say, hey, you have this item and I need it. It looks like you also need money, or you have so much of it that you can sell some to me. Let's negotiate. That's how people negotiate. That's how honest people trade. But colonizers believe that because they have bigger weapons, they're going to come and violence will be the language of the world. There was a time when that was the only language. But that is still being practiced in the 21st century. It's a shame. It's a shame. It was outlawed. But we are going to fight it, and it's a good thing that we're fighting it, and we should, in this 2021, join our brothers on the ground to fight. They're doing a great job. They're doing a great job. La République has come with everything. First, they came with the gun. It quite did not work. It did not work. Then they talked about Grand National Monologue, and they went and had their monologue. Of course, nothing changed. Then they came and wanted to think they can bribe our fighters. It didn't work. They got a few, but it failed. It failed big time. Right now, they're trying to cause they're trying to create communal conflicts like they've done in Womb. They did that in Gabu. They're doing that in Boya right now. They're doing it all over the place. It's just a continuation of them coming and dividing our country into so-called Northwest, Southwest. So when you see people who come, instead of saying, hey, can we work together? And the only way we work together is letting us be us and you be you. What you have, I bring on the table. If it works for us, we keep it. It works for us. We bring what we have. You can't come and tell us that you will impose yourself on us and then somehow we become your property. No, we are human beings. We are human beings. The only creatures that you force with a gun or with a whip or by some poor treatment is animals. It's animals. We are human beings. And we are right now exercising our humanity by picking up the gun to defend ourselves. So, what else has succeeded? What else has succeeded? You know, what else has succeeded is that even though some people have fallen apart or fallen away and gone back to their normal lives in the diaspora, I consider it as only people who need a little more coaxing and a little more leadership. But some hardcore have remained. And I'm very, very sure that once we have because listen, we have to do something this year. Because the past 4 years have been wasted. They've been wasted by SACO. They've been wasted by the Choayaba group, or the Akwanka group, the Bo Herberts. All those people who came forward and made a lot of noise. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what that noise did. Because if you are now grown up and you want to accomplish by making loud noise, let me tell you how that noise destroyed our struggle. You know, before the fourth conclave, when these people went down to Nigeria, there had been meetings in Nigeria that three big meetings that took place in Nigeria to organize up to that point. They were done quietly and things were accomplished. So that by 2017, a lot of things were already accomplished and the leadership was shaping up. These loud makers from the diaspora went down there in Nigeria, started streaming stuff live and made a lot of noise, got the attention of the French, got the attention of all the enemies of Ambazonia to come down and did what they did to the leadership. And that was a leadership of patriots who were very, 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 very focused on getting us finally get this enemy out of our land for over 100 years. What we are fighting, we should know that the way we were organized before was that there was Bakweri. There were villages like Bakweri, Bakundu, Mankon, Bamenda, Bali. There were villages. We were living in villages. And these villages were all sovereign, which meant that Bali cannot come and claim Bafut land, and Bafu cannot go and claim Bali land or Mankon land or anybody's land. We went to war, just like countries went to war and settled it, and then you go back to your own country, speaking your own language, living your customs, running your life. Okay, that's how we were organized before. The Germans came in and took away that from us. a lot of the tribes fought, and the Germans fought tribe by tribe before taking over the whole place. Okay? So since, and all of this happened between 1884 and 1914. I'm putting at 1914 because some people think that we are that we're all owned by. No, the Germans had not even consolidated their Cameroon or their Cameroon colony when they were kicked out. They had not, because they had to conquer tribe by tribe. From 1884, by the time they got to Bafut, I think they did not take Bafut until it's either 1807 or 1809 or 1909. But it took them a long time before they could take Bafut, after they've taken Bakweri, and then kind of edge their way into the hinterlands. So that's how. So since then, for over 100 years, we've been ruled by the Germans, we've been ruled by the British. Right now, we're being ruled by the French. So this freedom that we're trying to free ourselves now, and we have. I wanted to say we are like 50% free, but we're more than that. We're more than that, because La République right now, they're in our territory. They know that they're going to be out. They know that they're going to be out because they've done everything and we have refused. And until we bend our back for them to ride on our back, they will not ride on our back, and we will never bend our backs again for them to ride like a horse. Because for more than 50 years, we allowed them to come into our territory. We allowed them to divide us. We allowed them to cut our radio. Radio Boy, I used to broadcast in the whole territory. They limited it to only broadcast to Southwest and then call us Northwest. Southwest, Northwest. They divided us and started changing our lives until they started trying to educate, trying to make our children in the stomach of their mothers speak French. And we said no. They were shocked. Till today, they're still shocked. But that's the power of a human being saying no. If you're a human being and you say no, your no is your no. And it causes another problem. It causes a problem to the other human being who is trying to make you say no, or to make you say yes, or try to say, oh, your no means yes to me. No, our no is no. And we have stood steadfast, and right now they are the people looking for a way out. Not us anymore. But we need to have the staying power for them to go through the motions of knowing that the game is over. Because that's what they're doing right now. They're going through the motions of accepting the truth. And once they have accepted the truth, they'll move out. And then what we will do, we'll calculate the damage that they've done in not accepting the truth on day one, and then we'll make them pay. We'll make them pay. If La République thinks this is the first surprise that we gave them, they should wait. They should wait until once they are out of our territory, we assess the damage they caused, they will pay that damage. They'll pay that damage. Because you don't sit in your own country. Somebody comes in, closes all your ports, surrounds you with troops, takes away all your money-making resources, and say you are going to depend on me, and then starts deciding how much you get and when you get it and what you can do with it and all that kind of nonsense. I'm so proud of our people for having been patient, too patient, overly patient, until they were considered weak, and then one day decided that, okay, enough is enough. I am so proud of that. Because, what we did there was give them the longest rope to draw. We gave them the longest rope. Right now, they've burned everything, and right now they just need to leave our land. But we need to help them. Now, one of the things that we should know is that it's not going to be easy. I think one of the things that we did this even up to maybe even 2018, 2019. our people have always approached our struggle that, hey, this thing is so clear, and the violations against others are so clear. So we are right. So things should be easy. The UN will just move in and come and give us our independence. You know, the UN voted for our independence. So what else are you waiting for? Come and give it to us. We said we don't want to work with these people. So our people always thought, oh, because we are so right, the answer must be very easy. And so we even started forming governments. Governments that will take over the land that will be given. No, we have to take that land first. I think our people's thinking, it's readjusting. And I think this year, I'm hoping that somehow this year we are going to make this year be the year of I hesitate using the word revolution, but I'm going to use it in saying that this year should be the year that creates a revolution in us, so that we understand that our liberation is something that we have to win inch by inch until the enemy crosses Metasm or crosses the Mongol, and we build a concrete wall and banish them forever. If not physically, definitely in our minds, that goodbye. But let's work at it, because as we speak, their frustration has resulted in murders. You know, when they first went to Manfe, and I know that we thought they were going to go fight men there, but when they went there, remember that when they were going, their duo was asking women and children and the sick to evacuate their villages. What kind of rule is that? What kind of rule is that? If they were saying, hey, women, children, and the sick and the elderly, stay at home because there are some enemies that we need to fight among us, then we'll know these are people who are claiming us as their people and claiming to be the government who wants to come and take care of some troublemakers. No, they already knew. They have always known that they are in our land illegally. They have always known from day one. And I think they also knew that someday we'll fight back. And that's why, even though there's a deep seaport in Victoria, they will not develop that seaport. They will go and be dealing with a sandy pit in Douala called a seaport, rather than put money in the seaport in their so-called country. But they knew that they were there as thieves, and so they never did anything. And so when there's a skirmish, they tell the enemies, because we're enemies, they're not considering us our citizens. They tell women and children to evacuate and to go where? So since then, they've been killing children, they've burned our hospitals, they've done all kinds of it. They've rampaged the place, but our resolve is still standing, and that they don't know what to do. And so Gabo happened, where they went and murdered children. And I'm only taking Gabo because we know of the rapes that they've done, we know of the other atrocities that they've done. But the major ones has been Gabo. And I want to name these because these are situations where they just go and kill civilians for absolutely no reason. In Gabo, they went and killed them in their sleep. In Kumba, they killed the children in their classrooms. Matu just happened recently when they went and just killed women and children. Some people tell me that they do that in order to create a situation where they say, oh, there's activity here, and then get money from La Republique. Meaning that that's what the local security people do, or the local terrorists. They're not security, they're terrorists. That's what they do. So they'll go to Matu and cause this mayhem, and then when they cause that mayhem, the lies start. Because the only people who work for La Republique, are people who can accept all these lies. It's such an immoral place that nothing is above them. Their ministers come out and lie as dogs. But I have a write up here from Reuters, which I would like to share with you about that situation in Matu. Now, like I've told you before, until we started actually fighting back to get our country back, nobody was writing about us. And so when international papers start reporting about us, I always want to give you these measurements so that you know that that the time is moving, and as the time moves, our situation improves. We're not just sitting there. No, we are not. And that's why you see La Republique acting more and more desperate. They're acting more and more desperate because they know that time is not for them. And so they're trying to make the thing end so that we'll go back and start where we... No, La Republique cannot take back the years that have passed. We can never go back there. So let me read this article from Reuters. Cameroon army killed civilians in village raid, witnesses and lawyers say. And this article is written by Edward McAllister. Cameroon soldiers opened fire on villagers during a weekend raid in the country's southwest, killing up to 9 people, including civilians, and injured others, witnesses, health workers, and a human rights lawyer said on Wednesday. An army spokesperson denied there were civilian casualties during the incident on Sunday in the village of Matu in the southwest region, home to a separatist insurgency. He called the accusation propaganda. For 4 years, the army has clashed with Anglophone separatist fighters among the forest and cocoa farms of western Cameroon. Over 3,000 people have died in the violence, which has intensified since the start of this year. Sunday's attack was described to Reuters by 3 villagers who said they fled into nearby cocoa plantations or cowered at home while soldiers rifled through their belongings. They said they saw 9 dead people, including a child and an old woman. None of the dead were separatist fighters, they said. Medical charity Médecins Sans Frontières said it was treating 4 people from the village, all with gunshot wounds, a young child, 2 elderly patients, and a young woman. This incident is the latest in a significant upsurge in violence since the year began, said Gisa Kola, Médecins Sans Frontières emergency coordinator in southwest Cameroon. Unverified video shared by sources with knowledge of the attack showed several dead bodies with gunshot wounds, including a woman and a child laid out on a bamboo stretcher, as well as several young men. This is an unconventional conflict, said human rights lawyer Agbobala, who said he had confirmed at least 8 deaths in Matu on Sunday, based on his own sources. Civilians were killed. It was done by the military. We don't know if others killed were separatists. In a statement on Monday, the military said it was conducting a raid on separatist positions when it came under fire and had killed what it labeled terrorists. It did not say how many died. In response to Reuters' questions about the incident, Army spokesperson Atonfak Guillermo on Wednesday dismissed the witness accounts. Small terrorist groups and their foreign supporters have engaged in a battle of disinformation. We will not give in, he said. The army has struggled to uproot the insurgency, which is made up of dozens of small armed groups and has become a thorn in the side of President Paul Biya's 40-year rule. The violence in Matu came as 3 soldiers face trial for their alleged involvement in the killing of 21 civilians last year in a village in the northwest region. The separatists have committed their own abuses, including attacks on police and the army and school kidnappings. You know, every time I read this, it's like, what do you want Ambazonians to do? To just sit, let the terrorists cross the border, come into their country, shoot them, and they just sit there and die? Louis, a cocoa farmer, said he was sitting outside when the soldiers opened fire in Matu. Bullets were flying everywhere, said Louis, who, like other witnesses, did not want to use his last name for fear of reprisal. They chased me into the bushes and kept shooting. Fellow resident Eno said he was in a church meeting when the gunfire began. He ran into the surrounding bushes and hid. Not everyone got away. One 60-year-old farmer was at home when soldiers broke down his door searching for fighters and weapons. They found neither and smashed his television, he said. None of the witnesses said they saw separatists that day. They all said that a woman and her young granddaughter were killed by the military. They were people I knew, the farmer said. What have they done that they can be killed in this way? So that is the report. A lot of international organizations, including the British, talked about investigations, but you know what? All of that is just lip service. What the Ambazonian people need to know is that their fate is in their hands. The British, the French, the Americans, everybody else existed, and the Ambazonian people talked to them about these problems, but nobody reacted until the Ambazonian picked up their gun. And so right now, they can come and talk about violence on both sides. They can talk about negotiations, but that is outside. That is outsiders trying to come and make change in Ambazonia. Ambazonia, like I said, for over 100 years, have not experienced anything good from foreigners who came in. They came in for themselves, and whatever good they left behind, it was good that was more a derivative of what they came to get. It wasn't some good that they came to give. So all these people are sitting in their different countries, passing judgment and making statements about us. But it is us that will have to work to free ourselves, and we are doing a wonderful job. Now, the only thing that is needed is that we in the diaspora need to work together with our people on the ground in order to get to the finish line. If our boys were having the kind of support that we in the diaspora started providing, this thing would be virtually over now. Because La Republique actually doesn't have an army. They have people who join the army not because of any competence, but because of who they know. Okay? That's what happens in a country like that. And so when they come and they meet some determined young people with Dane guns, it becomes a battle for them. They've been at it for 4 years and nothing has happened. If they were real soldiers, they would have come in with good military tactics, secure the population, calm down the so-called insurgents, because really the lawyers and the teachers that studied this were not insurgents. The lawyers wore their professional gowns and went on the street talking to their government. The teachers did the same. The civil society did the same. Mancho BBC he did not even organize kids to pick stones and start throwing. No, he went to Commercial Avenue in Bamenda with a coffin, well, of his own death, and stood up there and said, here's what is happening to us. This should not be happening to us. Guess what? He's been in jail since then. Why? Why? Is it that Western civilization, is it that the British and the Germans and the French, for all the years they were in Africa, just did not accomplish anything if they thought Africans were not civilized before? Really? Anyways, I think we are proving our humanity. I think we put a good fight, and let's make 2021 count. If you add from 2016 to today, yes, it's counted, because we are where we are now. People know our story now. The whole world knows our story. That's why they're able to say that the conflict in Ambazonia is the most neglected conflict in the world. That's because they know about it, and they would not have known about it until we made them know about it by our talking, by our dying, by our fighting, and by everything that we have. La Republique was trying to keep the world from knowing about it. That's why they were cutting off internet and all that. It was to silence us so that our cries and our communication to the world will not be heard. But just like SCBC came and changed the television culture in La Republique, it used to be a culture where Chiruma will go and sit in a television station and say, if you give more, if you allow separatists there, we will shut you down. SCBC was there blasting the whole thing, all made of their terrorists. And so the other televisions had to adapt, and now the whole place knows about our story. The whole place knows about our story. The whole world knows about our story. And that is really more than 50% of our struggle. Because remember, when the Ivorians had their own issues and they were trying to resolve, they did not do a good job of controlling the message. So what happened? They went and decided what the message was, and they were calling Babo clinging to power. They said, oh, he's a dictator clinging to power. And the whole world picked that up. If you turn any radio, turn the BBC, and the BBC and all these CNN, they all knew the truth. But they were wrong with the story that their government and the story that did not support the truth. And it was sad. So they will go clinging to power. But we went forward with our androids, with SCBC, with all the communication tools that we could put together and define our story. That this is colonization by people who came, they use the word marginalization. We were more than marginalized. We were treated terribly. We're not treated like human beings. We're treated less than human beings. And now we have regained our humanity. We are now fighting. We're still dying, but we're dying for them to leave our country. In the past, we're dying for them to stay. They were killing us in order to stay. Now, for each death that we suffer these days, is death that gets the whole world talking about it, and it's death that is pushing them out. And they know that every time they come lying, they're lying because they're afraid of the truth. Issa Chiruma lied for a long time, and his was too much, so they put him aside and brought this Rene Sadi. He continues to lie, but they lie because they cannot live by the truth. But we told the truth already, so we're doing wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget the struggle. Let's be ready again this year to do the things that we did in 2017 and 2018. Let's go back to doing those things, and I can promise you, because I don't see any more Sakos out there that will come and lie to us. Okay? I think all the different people who have been out there have lied enough. So we know them. and we have better ways of testing them now. So we want people who can give us results, and we'd like to let's hope that this year brings us those kinds of people, because that's the only choice we have.